Go ahead and try the warm-up and pause the video and then check your answers when you're done. So on problems like 1 and 2, we would want to look for a common base. A common base between 3 and 9 would be 3. So I'm going to leave the left side as 3 to the x. And on the right side, I'm going to replace 9 with 3 squared because that is equivalent value. And I will leave the fifth root of 3 squared like that. The next thing that I would want to do is I would want to rewrite this into rational exponent form. So I know that since this is the fifth root of 3 squared, I can rewrite that as 3 to the 2/5. And now, since the bases are the same, I know that the exponents would have to be the same, so that would mean x would have to be 2/5. For number 8, I know a common base between 8, 16, and 2 would be 2. So I'm going to replace 8 with 2 cubed, leaving that x exponent out there. I'm going to replace 16 with 2 to the 4th. And I'm going to rewrite the square root of 2 as 2 to the 1/2. So on the left side, I know I have 2 raised to the 3x. And on the right side, I know that since I have 2 bases, I should add those exponents. 4 plus 1/2 is the same thing as 4 1/2, or as an improper fraction, that would be 9/2. So then I know that this is 2 raised to the 9/2 power. And so now, just like in number 1, I know that those exponents have to be equal since the bases are the same. So 3x has to be equal to 9/2. Since the other side of my equation is a fraction, I should be thoughtful about how I get rid of this 3. Let's multiply by 1/3 on both sides. So that way I get x equals 9/6, which then reduces to 3/2. So when I look down at 3, 4, and 5, what I notice is that 5 and 10 do not share a common base, nor do 12 and 100, nor do 3.5 and 60. So that is when I need to start solving these problems using logarithms. So when I look at number 3, I know that 5 and 10 do not share any common bases. So what I want to do is I want to take the logarithm on both sides. So I'm going to rewrite this as the log of 5 to the t equals the log of 10. I'm using a base 10 log on both sides because I know that's what's in my calculator. Next, I want to move that t onto the front, so that becomes t times the log of 5 equals the log of 10. And now if I want to get t by itself, I can divide by log 5 on both sides. So I get t equals the log of 10 divided by the log of 5. I can simplify that. I know that the log of 10, since that is a base 10, is equal to 1. So that's the same thing as 1 divided by log 5. And if this were a no calculator test, then this would be your answer. If you had your calculator on this part, you would type in your calculator 1 divided by log 5, and you would get approximately 1.43. So it just depends on what the instructions say. So let's try number 4. I want to do the same thing on number 4. I want to rewrite this as, I'm taking the log on both sides. I could have gone ahead and simplified the log of 10 right there. I can go ahead and simplify log of 1,000. I know that that's equal to 3. I also know that I can bring this 2x onto the front. So that's 2x times the log of 12. So now I'm going to divide both sides by log of 12. So now I have 2x is equal to 3 divided by log 12. And again, if you don't have a calculator, then you just need to simplify this as much as possible, get x by itself. So to get rid of that 2, I'm going to multiply by 1/2 on both sides. so that my final answer is x equals 3 divided by 2 times the log of 12. And then if I have a calculator, I can type that in, and I would get approximately 1.62. Let's look at number 5. So on number 5, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take the log on both sides. Um, 10 and 60 and 10 and 3.5 do not share common bases, so I won't be able to simplify that, but I can go ahead and bring the 2t to the front. So that's 2t times the log of 3.5 equals the log of 60. Now I'll go ahead and divide by that log of 3.5. So I get 2t equals log of 60 divided by log of 3.5. Just like in number 4, I'll go ahead and multiply by 1/2 so that I get t equals log 60 divided by 2 times log 3.5. And when I type that in my calculator, I get approximately 0.48. So this last problem is similar to what you need for your project. So it says Sally invests $1,500 in an account that earns 5.4% interest compounded quarterly. How many years and months will the money need to be invested in order for Sally to pay for a trip to Rome that will cost her $3,500? So let's write down our formula. Our formula is A of t equals p times 1 plus r over n raised to the nt. And let's go ahead and write down the things that we know. So we know her principal is $1,500. That's the amount she's investing. We know her interest rate is 5.4%, which is the same thing as 0.054. We know her interest is compounded quarterly, so n is 4. We do not know t. Notice that the question is how many years and months. So t is a question mark. And let's see, do we know one more part? We know that her ending amount is $3,500. So let's plug in what we know. And now let's go ahead and simplify as much as we possibly can. So we'll have 3,500 equals 1,500. And in my calculator, I'm going to go ahead and type in 1 plus 0.054 divided by 4. And you want to keep all of those decimal places. So 1.0135 raised to the 4t. And then the next thing that I want to do is divide by 1,500. When I type 3,500 divided by 1,500 in my calculator, I get a repeating decimal, which means that I need to leave this as a fraction in order to get the most exact answer. So I know that I can reduce this to be 35/15, which I can then reduce to be 7/3. So at this point, this is what I have. 7/3 equals 1.0135 raised to the 4t. So now I want to solve this just like any problem I would have in problems 3, 4, or 5. I want to take the log on both sides. And I want to move the exponent to the front. So that now I have log of 7/3 equals 4t times the log of 1.0135. And then I will divide by this log on both sides. Remember that my goal is to get t by itself. So now I have log of 7/3 divided by log of 1.0135 is equal to 4t. I'll multiply by 1/4 on both sides. So that I get t equals log of 7/3 divided by 4 times the log of 1.0135. And then I'll go ahead and type that in my calculator, and I get that t is approximately 15.8. So then I would say it would take about 15.8 years for Sally to get $3,500. So hopefully that helps you with part B and C of your project. Come see if you have questions.